What's going on, guys? Welcome to another edition of the RPO special podcast. You already know what day it is. It is draft eve, guys. I'm super excited to be here. I got to be super excited today because one, tomorrow's the draft. Two, today is my 1 year anniversary for moving to Georgia. So thank you guys. I'm Georgian, I guess now. And I got a full cast of guys here. You guys already know my guy, Mr. Ray Roberts, the man, the myth, the legend, right over here. What's going on, Ray?
I'm good, Jerome. How are you?
Excited. I'm excited. Excited. That's all I
Yeah.
can say. I'm just excited. Then we got my man Chris Thomas down here. You guys know him from the Air It Out podcast. He's on the radio. He's doing his thing. Mr. Chris Thomas, how you doing, sir?
What's going on? I'm doing good, and I'm actually going to be at the link tomorrow for the NFL draft.
No,
Oh,
nice,
that's
nice,
big.
nice. I didn't
That's
realize they
really
was having
big.
something there. It's awesome. And we got a new guy here. He's a good friend of Mr. Ray Roberts right over there. That will be Mr. Corey. How you doing, sir?
Yeah, absolutely great to be here. I'm Corey Tucker. Sorry I didn't put my whole name up there.
Yeah, you good. You're good. You're good. This is a good cast right here because it's funny. I had to wear the shirt because we're all rivals in here. I mean, except for me and Corey. Me and Corey's Michigan fan, so go blue, baby, go blue. But we got
Go
the
Blue,
Ohio
go
State fan
home.
right here. We got the Notre Dame game guy right there. We all rivals, but hey, I'm not the only Michigan guy in here, so I'm excited, and we're both Eagles fans, so that's dope.
Definitely, and I definitely love that about this whole entire scenario. You know, Notre Dame fan and Ohio State fan. Who better to be sandwiched between?
I don't know. We got comments in here already. Let's see what we got. Who is in here? We got one team that says, "Hey guys, so what's up, one team? We do appreciate you being in here, and thank you for showing some love. We love it. We love it. We love it." So, if you guys don't already know, we are here for our special mock draft, our last one right before the draft, the actual draft tomorrow. I want to say this before we start. No matter what happens in this mock draft, none of us is going to be right. We already know that. None of us is going to be right. I mean, maybe the first pick of the draft, that's about it. But none of us is going to be right. But that's the beauty of it, just to speculate and see what's going to happen and who's going to get what and who's going to do who. But I'm excited to get this started. So we're going to start with Ray's going to go first. And everybody got a random pick. So it's not premeditated. It's all random. And it's every four picks, everybody's gonna kind of rotate through it. So we already have our picks in, and we got picked on a random wheel, and we're gonna do our draft. So if you guys are watching live, please put your comments in here. If there's something that you like, something you don't like, Ray drafted somebody terribly, let them know. I had to point you out, right? I had to point you out, right? So let's get it started. Let's get it started. We got number one selection with the Jaguars. Ray, who will you be picking for them there?
If I were Jacksonville, I would trade back because I would draft an offensive tackle with this spot, and I don't know if the tackles are these highly rated. But I'm going to take Tavon Thibodeau from Oregon, the edge player from Oregon. I know people are going to be like, why would I do that instead of taking Hayden Hutchinson? I think he just has more of a pass rusher than Hutchinson. I think they're both really good football players. I think Hutchinson is more of a strong side guy, plays to run very well, gets some pressure on the quarterback. But if I'm going to draft this spot, I'm going to get a guy who I'm pretty sure will give me double-digit sacks down the road. So,
Thibodeau going number one. I mean, if you guys knew before the season, Thibodeau was one of the big guys that was going to be there at number one overall, and a lot of people thought that. Obviously, things happen throughout the seasons, and we start nitpicking and things like that. So I'm starting to hear him going to fall, actually. But I want to hear what you guys think real quick about him being selected here at number one.
Chris, you want to go or should I go first?
Oh no, you can go first.
Okay, so I'm a little bit surprised. There have been some questions as his what his motivation is, to actually play the game, or his interests outside of football have come up in certain meetings that he's had with different teams. I know the Detroit Lions are definitely not sold on him. Some of the things that their head coach had said about him and not being impressed with him as a person. But I'm not surprised. I mean, Kayvon has been the number one player in his class coming out of high school. He was somebody that Rashawn Gary, who used former Michigan player, former number one player overall, took a personal interest in at Nike camps. So I'm not surprised here. I mean, the guy with tremendous upside and athleticism, very intelligent, also in the mold of Aiden Hutchinson. Guys who have very high IQs and did well in the classroom. So I mean, you can't ever go wrong with a smart, athletic football player.
Yeah. Now, I'm going to have to agree. I like Thibodeau. I feel like personally, before the season started, he was definitely going to be first overall pick, regardless of who was going to have the number one pick, especially with this being not so much of an impressive quarterback class. And I feel like his floor is a lot better than a lot of these pass rusher ceilings in this upcoming draft. So I personally feel like he won't get the number one pick, but if he is the number one pick, then I wouldn't be shocked at all.
Yeah, for some reason, I feel like he fits Jaguars more than the other Packers. For whatever reason, I just feel like he fits the kind of guys they usually pick there. I mean, you look at, the type of guys that they've been drafting lately. They're more lanky, long, fast kind of speed rushers. So I wouldn't put him past the Jaguars there, guys.
Yeah. And also, shout out to Ray, real quick. Shout out to Ray, because I feel like a lot of people are going to be overthinking when it comes to if Kayvon Thibodeau's on the board. And he was like, you know what? I'm not thinking about this at all. He ran to the podium and got him.
Right.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And that's what you gotta respect Ray for that. He's always been like that. He's not gonna go with the consensus. He's gonna go with what he thinks is the best spot. So
right, exactly.
Definitely. All right, number 2, we got Chris, who got Detroit on the board. So he's repping Michigan in a sense. Yeah, would you be going blue here? What is there?
Chris, just go ahead to Michigan. You know you want to. Go ahead.
Funny thing is, Ray threw a monkey wrench in my plan. I thought that he was going to go Aiden Hutchinson or Trayvon Walker number 1, and I'm just like, cool, Thibodeau at 2. But now because of that, I got to rethink. But I'm pretty sure that the Lions brass are probably going to stay in state, and Aiden Hutchinson is going to be number 2 if this happens.
I agree.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So Aiden going to the Lions. Ray, do you think that's a good spot?
I think it is. I think Hutchinson is a good football player. I think that keeping him in town is not a bad move.
At all.
I just don't like. I'm just going to say anybody that takes Javon Walker in the first 5 picks should be fired next year. Okay, so I'm going to leave it at that, because you don't take a guy because he time fast, and I love the stuff that you like, all the combine. I love that stuff. But when you start changing where guys are going to be drafted according to how fast they run, that's why you have guys that are former GMs. Okay, so
let's look at Michael Muller. Michael Muller is the greatest
correct
of all time. Ray knows his job. How did we pick him over Warren Sapp that year? I was maybe like 11. I remember that draft. I have it on tape on VHS still to this day.
I draft football players, man. I don't need track stars. I need football players. Okay.
Now, I'm not going to lie to you, Ray. In the later rounds, I draft track stars.
Oh, no. Like, I tell Jerome all the time, if I have 2 guys with equal grades, I'll take guys a little bit faster, maybe a little bit longer arms, depending on what position they play.
Right. We were just talking about that too.
Yeah, for me, in the first round, I gotta draft somebody either that's definitely going to be seeing the field and is going to be a starter for at least the next 5 to 10 years. Later rounds, then you could do your little pet projects. So for me, Hutchinson was dominant this year. He was a Heisman finalist. So,
put some respect in her name. Thank you.
Oh my God.
I mean, think about it. That victory in the big house over Ohio State is going to live forever. What better way to go out? You wish it would have ended a little bit better versus Georgia, but honestly, you lost to the eventual national champions. He still played his heart out that game. He didn't give up. He didn't quit. And I believe one of the bigger reasons why Michigan was so successful this year was because of him. I mean, people followed his lead. He was the guy who very much set the tone, and everyone answered the bell, you know? So I have to agree. I think that's a great pick.
Yeah, this is one of the better Michigan defenses that they've fielded probably since the entire Harbaugh era this past season.
Don't do it. Don't do it,
close.
Chris. You're gonna make me cry. Oh my
Oh,
god.
come on. I'm a football fan first. I can give credit when credit is due.
I respect it. Darren says, what was the first pick? So the first pick was
Kayvon
Thibodeau.
Kayvon Thibodeau. I was about to say Hutchinson. Oh, you messed us all up, Ray. And you made us thinking.
Definitely did.
Oh God.
All right,
man.
so I'm number 3, and if I'm Texas, and I was the Texans, I'm kind of mad right now because I thought either one of those guys could have even came here. But I still think there's a guy that I'm gonna pick here. I know people. I'm gonna make some people mad.
I'm waiting. Go ahead.
I'll wait. Hold on, Ray. What do you think I'm gonna get?
I'm waiting.
You ready?
Go ahead.
Yep. There you go. There you go. You gotta go.
I know right now that people are saying that there's medical history. I don't believe that. I just think that this is again people just poking at players and saying, hey, blah 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 about players. They medical histories for they can fall. I think the best thing to do is shore up that offensive line for your quarterback that's there right now. I'm blanking on his name right now, but
Davis Mills.
Thank you, Davis Mills, or whoever you're gonna be taking next year. So you got Evan Neal right there. He's a athletic freak. Again, I keep saying this story. I actually met him in person. This guy towered over me, and he was in high school. He's 6'7" now. He's a beast. He's over here jumping like I forgot what was his the boxes when you jump on the boxes. I forgot what height it was, but he's an athletic freak. A guy that is very versatile. You can put him inside, outside, wherever you need him, and he'll be a beast there. So if you the Texans, don't overthink it. Just grab him in here.
Right. I agree.
Aaron says Hilton or Evans for Texas. All right. So we're on the same page. Anybody got anything else to say about my pick here, sir?
I mean, you talk about a guy like you said. He plays way lighter than he's what 6'7", 350 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
Plays way lighter. 24 pressures in 2 years. That's all you have to say. 24 pressures in 2 years.
That's not even sacks. It's pressures.
That's pressure. So it's just like, how could you I think that he and the kid Icky from North Carolina State, two guys that I love watching because they know how to finish a block.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, those two guys. I was kind of happy that we played Georgia instead of playing Bama because I honestly thought that he was going to be a guy that made Aiden look bad. So I'm not going to lie, I was kind of glad that we actually got Georgia, and I think it was with who was their tackle? I can't remember. But either way, I'm glad. Great pick.
I agree. Chris, you got anything?
No, this is a really good pick. It's about time Houston actually invests in an offensive line, regardless of who the quarterback is.
Right.
And to me, I feel like he's probably one of the more versatile linemen in the draft. You can play him on both tackle spots. You can also put him at right guard. So you got some versatility there as well.
Exactly. All right, let's get to our next pick. Corey, the newbie, get his first pick in here. Who are you picking, sir?
I'm going with Derek Stingley Jr. And the reason why is because when I look at what New York does best and what Soleil probably wants, I mean, if I had to choose between, Derek Stingley Jr. and Sauce Gardner, I know Sauce has not allowed a touchdown in his entire career, but I also look at the level of competition he's played and being a rangy 6'3" corner. I mean, it's not like a lot of people in that AAC conference are going to challenge you anyway. So, and also I look at the fact that he had Majai Sanders up front, a guy who this year had 24 plus pressures. He had 9 pressures versus Alabama alone. So it's not like you're out here doing this by yourself. Kobe Bryant, the rest of the other safety, Cook, they're all very good. So it's not like you're out here getting picked on, but Derek, I know there's some issues with, once again, like you said, about players being poked and prodded and the fact that he did miss some games like over the last couple of years. But I was trying to remember when listening to some of these reports, I'm like, didn't this kid kind of he opted to sit out some of these games because of COVID? Like, it wasn't exactly like all injury related. So it's just like, I think people have a short-term memory, just like most cornerbacks who get burned. Got to have a short-term memory. But I think when you look at Derek Stingley and you look at what he did at his pro day, I think he pretty much set himself aside. When you look at the fact that he is only 5'11", that's fine. I don't necessarily think super tall corners are the greatest anyway. I never know where that even started at. I mean, outside of my guy Bobby Taylor for the Eagles, I mean, I don't really like a lot of tall corners. I like guys who are in that range, that 5'10", 5'11" range, nice arms. They can throw that arm back and get that good swing, and they can locate the ball. And that's what I think he does better with anybody. He stays in your hip pocket, and he can track the ball. And even if you needed to switch him up around, use him as a utility knife and put him in different positions, I think he can give that defense some versatility.
All right, what do you think?
I love Derek Stingley. I loved him more 2 years ago. I'm not going to lie about it because the injuries the last couple of years do have me a little concerned. But
right,
as far as being a football player, what I agree with what Corey said is there's probably not a cornerback in college football that tracks the ball the way he does. So I'll give him that. So,
Chris, you got something on that
who
one?
we practice. I'm sorry, my bad.
No, go ahead.
No, really quick. Like, think about the guys he's practiced against in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
That type of talent has to breed some sort of, mindset of what I'm going to face. But my bad. Go ahead, Chris.
Oh, no, not even just the fact that when he goes up in his practice, going up against the wide receivers from Alabama every year, the guys from Georgia,
right?
The rest of the SEC guys. And but yeah, he's probably my favorite corner in this draft. I love the measurements. The injuries do concern me, and to me, he was a much better corner 2 years ago because of the not so much injury history. But I like the pick personally. I feel like the Jets and the way Robert Saleh builds his defense, I don't think he goes corner here. I think he goes pass rusher. But I'm not opposed to a Derek Stingley number 4 overall.
I do think that with Stingley, like 3 years ago when he was a freshman, he played really well, but teams had to throw against LSU all the time. So he had a lot of chances to make plays on balls, and he did. So I think that's what the last couple of years they haven't been quite as good. And one question for you guys know where Bobby Taylor went to school, right, Corey? There you go.
Let's go. All right, so real quick, let me get a little recap on the last 4 picks. So we got Kayvon going number 1. You got Aiden Hudson going number 2. You got Evan Neal going number 3, and Stingley going number 4. And next up, Chris. I know you're an Ohio State fan, but you also are an Eagles fan. So this must be hard for you to pick a Giants pick. But if you are here at number 5, who you giving them, sir?
I'm gonna go offensive lineman here. I'm gonna go Akim Iwanu from North NC State. You need to shore up that offensive line for Daniel Jones, and not only Daniel Jones, but for Saquon Barkley to have a potential bounce back season as well. And if you bring in Brian Dable and Mike Kafka to give Daniel Jones a fighting chance, you got to shore up their offensive line because they're not short on wide receivers. They're definitely not short on the talent that they have on the running back position, and their defense is actually pretty decent. The major issue is they can't protect Daniel Jones, and that's ultimately the reason why the Giants team has been bad. Not because Daniel Jones' play, but his inability to stay healthy, and that also has to equate to the offensive line.
I think the bigger thing is, like Corey said, get the running game going, help the quarterback by doing that first and foremost. So,
yeah, I think it was a good pick. I mean, he started falling down a little bit on the board, and the Giants always been needing some offensive line in general, even though they have, even without Daniel Jones, they still need offensive line no matter who's back there because they've been struggling and trying their best and trying to mix match stuff for years now. So, I think that's a great pick for them. I would hate to still see it, but it is what it is. All right, let's get to our next pick here, and that will be the Carolina Panthers. Ray, you are on the board.
Now, this is kind of a tough one for me because I don't necessarily think that any quarterback should be taken before the middle of the first round. But I think the one quarterback that stands up out above everyone else is Malik Willis. So I'm going to take Malik Willis for Detroit right here. I mean, for Carolina right here. So.
Yeah, I mean, he's the best quarterback on the board. Guys, what do you think about that pick?
I like Malik. I think it's one of those things that Matt Rule is either going to live or die by. I don't know what their quarterback situation is going to look like this year. I don't think that he's the guy that's going to step in right away and play. I think you treat him like any type of great cooking dish. You season him, you let him sit for a little bit, you turn the heat up when you need to, but ultimately it's going to take time. It's going to take time. I think that they have a great culture there with DJ Moore and Anderson as the wide receivers. But I think it's one of those things that he's either going to make or break his career on. Matt Rule, I love him to death. Not a Philly guy, but still a Philly guy. Coached at Temple, actually lived down the street from us where we are, Ray, in Elkins Park. Got a chance to talk to him a lot while he was there because we have a few common friends, and but yeah, I like Malik Willis as a quarterback overall. I think he's the best physical quarterback in this draft, which isn't a lot to say, but he is.
I want to address this because everybody keeps thinking that
that's not going to happen.
Not even close.
That's not going to happen. I would be willing to put you name the amount of money. That's not going to happen.
I agree. It's just it's the NFL that needs quarterbacks. If somebody's going to go up and grab one or two or maybe even three, I think.
If Chris wouldn't have taken Ekwonu, I would have thought about taking him because I think offensive tackle is their second biggest need on this roster. Right. But because he took Ekwonu, I think get the young quarterback, let him sit on the bench for maybe half the season, maybe the whole season if possible, and then really you have the best quarterback in this year's draft. So
right. Yeah. I just hope Rule's around to see it next year, the following year.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, first off, he's not going to fall to 20. Yeah, at worst, he'll fall to like 9 to Seattle, and then Seattle will probably take him. If I had to make an assumption, if the Panthers don't take him. But one of my friends said it best: if you take Malik Willis, you're not drafting him for Matt Rule to coach him. You're drafting him for your next head coach to coach him.
I don't disagree with that. I think because Matt Rule probably feels like he needs to win games this year. Yeah. But think about this. They held their heads above water like they're 5-5, 6-5, and then you get him on the field. That could turn your season around if he's the player we think he could be.
And if Christian,
and how Matt Rule, he already likes PJ. I just had his name in my head.
PJ Walker.
There you go. PJ, he likes PJ Walker. Malik has a lot of PJ Walker and more.
Man, everything Malik, I love everything, but Malik Willis has a gun, man. The kid he can spin it. So he's a good athlete. Does he need to work on a lot of things? Yeah, he does. But any quarterback that comes from college football, especially where he played, to the NFL is going to need work. The question is he willing to put the work out there and in it to get it done? And I believe he is. I think he's a smart kid. And I think he's well above average talent. So
absolutely.
Look, I'm gonna address this again. Come on, Darren, you're killing me with these comments. No, I'm joking. But no, I like that you're you have that mindset, and thinking about how these quarterbacks are not the pretty class. But you gotta remember, if one of these guys you wind up hitting on, you don't have to. It's worth it. So why not shoot for it?
Right.
And that's how a lot of these GMs and coaches think. Like, hey, I really like this guy. I don't care what everybody else say. This is my guy, and if he hits, I'm in. We're good.
Right. Yeah, man. Do you know how many bad quarterbacks have been taken in the top 10 in the last 20 years, man?
Tim Couch.
Dude, like
Smith.
I mean, come on, man.
I got one better. Blake Boyles.
Yeah, I mean, come on, man.
And all I'm gonna say this, and then we could just get off this topic. Okay. Let's just say you go offensive line and you have a middle of the pack season. Sam Darnold still doesn't work out. Matt Rule's gone. Then you go into a much better quarterback class with a middle of the road pick, not being able to get any of those top quarterbacks. Right. At least with Willis, you know exactly what you're going to get. You know it's going to take time. So even if Rule doesn't work out, you still have Willis in your back pocket, and you can still address the offensive line, build your team up next year for him.
And there's really that much of a difference between taking him at 6 or taking him at 9, because that's where he's going to go if Carolina would have taken him, he'd have won at 9. So
well, everybody likes to play the what if game.
True, Atlanta could take him at 8.
Correct, they could.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Hey, Darren, we're just discussing. We're not trying to, come at you or anything like that. We understand it's not,
None of this is
not
personal.
bro. We understand. We
Yeah.
all have
Not
our
at all.
opinions, so we just giving our opinions, man. All right, let's
Yeah.
get to our next pick, and that will be me. And I have the Giants. I mean, why do I have the Giants? Because I'm about to give them a team.
No
I'm about to
bias
give them
there.
a player. You know what I'm about to do, right?
Trade. No, I'm joking.
I don't want to. I don't want to do it.
Sauce.
I don't want to do it.
You gotta take Sauce.
Dude, if they get these two players, they have one of the best drafts they had in a long time. I mean,
Yeah.
I
Especially after picking Kadarius.
don't want to do it. I hope this don't happen. I hope they get somebody jumps in front of them and get
So that means you're
not
moving
falling further than this.
So that means you're moving Adoree Jackson to the slot then, correct?
Oh, yeah, why not?
Okay.
See, look, I believe that they wanted to get rid of what's his name too, because there's a lot of trade rumors in that fact that they want to get rid of sorry guys, I'll be blanking on names. It's hot in here too. So it's Georgia, man. It's hot. It was like 85 degrees today. Huh?
Yeah, well, thanks. It was like 50 something here today.
Yeah,
no, it's 85 right now. It's hot and the sun is going down. But anyway, their current cornerback, I've been hearing a lot of rumors that they want to move on from him. And Sauce don't necessarily have to start off in the outside. You can ease him in to that role. It's his first year. He's still learning. So allow him to learn under those two guys. And then if you are truly trying to move on from Bradbury, that's what I forgot, James Bradbury. If you do want to move on from him, if you can't get nothing for him this year, you can wait next year, let him learn under Bradbury, and then get rid of Bradbury. So that's just my opinion. I think the Giants would like him. Chris, you seem like you wanted to kind of comment on this pick here.
I like Sauce Gardner, but personally for me, if I had the number 7 pick, I'm looking at their defense right now. Personally for me, I would have taken the chance and drafted Devin Lloyd out of Utah. That interior linebacker position on the Giants defense is probably their biggest need right now. That and pass rusher. They definitely need help on the front seven. They have a lot of youth in that secondary, which I can be confident in not using one of those first-round picks on the secondary for me.
I hear you on that. I hear you. I think linebacker is a little too rich this early, and plus the Giants have more picks later on. This is a really good linebacker draft where you can still get linebackers later. I feel like you need to get when you're top 10, you need to get a playmaker, and he's a playmaker. And this is best fit, best player on the board right now. And I just think that when you're a top 10 team, that's how you have to look at it. You can't go like, oh well, we need this position necessarily. That's just my opinion. Anybody else want to kind of comment on that?
I maybe would have went for a wide receiver here. If there was somebody I like in that top 10 spot, I maybe would have went wide receiver. But
yeah, I can't see anybody a wide receiver being picked this early. I mean, Jameson's still going to be sitting for a while. Chris Olave is cool, but you can get him later. Garrett Wilson, I feel like he'll probably be around right outside that 10 range. But I agree with this pick. I think Sauce has potential. And I think more than anything, when's the last time you've seen a cornerback this confident? I mean, every team who interviewed him raved about not only his intelligence, but his moxie. They talked about how much heart he has. He's apparently very charismatic. I think that this is a good pick for the Giants, even though being an Eagles fan, I would hate to see it happen. But, I think Sauce at this pick makes sense.
Yeah.
No, I love Gardner. I think he's a good football player. I think that if I wouldn't have taken Stingley, I may have thought about taking him, or you took Stingley.
Right.
I think it's a good corner. The only reason I may have leaned towards wide receivers, it's a really good cornerback draft this year.
It is. I have some favorites later, but that's a whole nother story.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to our next
pocket, man.
Corey, you got the next 2 picks, so you got the Falcons.
Nice.
The second pick is better. This pick I think is easy. When I look at what Atlanta needs, nobody on the board is going to make me take a quarterback at this point. Not going to happen. You look at offensive line; they need more center, guard, interior guys. The guys that you could have at this point. No, I like Trayvon Walker here. And the reason why I think he's a tremendous athlete, I mean, I look at, Charles Cross from Mississippi State. He would make sense at this pick, but they already have great young tackles. So it's like they don't really need Charles Cross, because I'm enamored by Charles Cross. I think he's a guy nobody really talks about. 66 66 pass attempts versus Alabama, 0 pressures. And I like him as an athlete. But when you look at Trayvon as an edge, the kid's 21. He's just scratching the surface. I mean, he played with a tremendous defensive line. I mean, you couldn't ask for a better combination of defensive linemen. It looked like something that somebody created on NCAA football. I mean, this kid, 6'5", 275 pounds, has measurables. He's at home in the state of Georgia. Why not keep him there? And I think that for me, looking at what the needs that Atlanta has, looking at the best overall player on the board, it's Trayvon Walker.
I like it. I mean, they need pass rush. He's starting to fall a little bit. A lot of people starting to say he's going to be first overall pick, which I personally don't agree with. But that's not for me to say.
I get it.
But hey, I think he's a tremendous kid, and the reason why I just don't like when person goes off on the combine and then they just automatically just shoot up the board like crazy. Like it was literally right after this combine, they're like, oh yeah, he's gonna be first overall. I'm like,
right.
Like wasn't saying that a while ago. I do think this is a good spot for him around the 8 to 10 range. He could be going to the next pick. I think that this is a great pick. Anybody else got anything to say?
No, I agree. I think it's a good, solid pick. I think you get him. Well, I have him rated between 8 and 12. I think it's a good spot for him. Plus, you keep him home. He's a Georgia guy, or at least he went to Georgia, and now he's going to play for the Falcons. I think it's a good pick, solid pick.
All right, Corey. Okay, sorry.
Oh no, I have no disagreements as well. If Trayvon Walker falls to 8, I'm pretty sure Atlanta would jump right all over it. Personally, I would have also gone Kyle Hamilton also with this pick as well. But Atlanta's a good situation. They're not going to be winning a lot of games, so it's a perfect organization for him to develop and grow with whatever they have on defense. Also, along with AJ Terrell.
Definitely. All right, Mr. Curry, you're up again. Who you got for the Seahawks?
This one is a little bit tougher. You look at they need a quarterback. Obviously, no one's there at 9. They need pass rush. The best pass rushers are off the board at this point, thanks to Ray. And then it's just like their defensive backfield needs some work too. I heard Earl's begging to come back into town. I don't know how much that's going to make a difference to them this year. But honestly, you look at their offensive line. It's the place that probably needs the next most assistance. And you take the best offensive lineman on the board, and that's Charles Cross. Like I said, Charles Cross, 66 pass blocking attempts versus Alabama this year, 0 pressures. When you look at the number of pass snaps this man has taken in the past couple of years, thanks to Mike Leach, I mean, this guy's got more practice versus some of the best defensive linemen, in the entire country, because the SEC breeds defensive linemen, whether they're stealing them from other conferences as transfers or getting them straight out of high school. Nobody plays better defensive linemen in the SEC. And I meant the pay part because they pay. But either way, I think Charles Cross makes a lot of sense. He's athletic. He plays to the whistle. And honestly, it looks like it's the next best thing for Seattle, because I don't think they pick again until 40th. So, I mean, they could trade back, but I don't know what they'd be doing with that. But I'll take Charles Cross in this pick.
Anybody got something to say about that pick?
Great pick.
Really good pick.
Great pick.
I agree. All right, now I'm on the board, and I got the New York Jets. And
come on, Jerome, do me a favor, mess it all up. Come on.
I would love to, because the pick I have in mind might make me mad myself, because I don't think this guy is supposed to be falling this far, and he is. And I'm going to do it.
Wow.
Taking 2 secondary players in a row, but hey.
Don't do it, Jerome.
You knew
it. Kyle Hamilton. They could go receiver, but at the same time, they have there's another team with a lot of draft picks in the top 100. Then you go receiver later on. They have a guy that they pretty much like in forgot his name. Um, but I think that they can get a receiver later and just shore up that defense. I mean, I would love Kyle Hamilton to fall down to my Eagles. That's what I'm praying for tomorrow. I already am.
I think
But
they're playing for that too.
I am really praying for that for real. But I think if you're smart enough and you want to grab another safety to pair up with Mays, wait, no, Mays is going now. So there we go. So somebody replace that. Then he had a bad defense. I think having Stingley, having Hamilton, and having Bryce Hall on the opposite end, you're setting yourself up with a really good defensive backfield.
Right.
Yeah, like go ahead, Ray.
No, I think it's a great pick. I think he may be the best player in the draft.
I think so.
I'm there with you, Ray. I know people keep talking about the 4-7.
There's nothing. Well, again, people overreacted to a bad 40 time. But again, I say this all the time, Jerome, and I know Corey's kind of new, and I don't really talk to Chris too much. I would rather have a guy who doesn't time fast but plays fast than the other way around. Every time. I want football players. I don't need track stars. And Kyle Hamilton was the best player on one of the best college defenses for the last 2 seasons. So
That's true.
Chris, you want to say something about my pick?
I like the pick. Like I said, I would like to get a pass rusher, but they also had 2 high second round picks, so you are able to probably get like a pass rusher that makes sense in the first second round picks. But Kyle Hamilton at this point is probably the best player on the board. Yeah, the Jets also signed Jordan Whitehead, so that's going to be appearing also. And you got Stingley with Bryce Hall. That your secondary set.
Yeah, I think with what you guys did with Corey and then that pick, you set the Jets' defensive backfield to be good for the next 10 years. You did.
Because you know what I was thinking, like starting with Stingley and hoping somebody like Kyle Hamilton fell. I think this is a great pick. And once I'm a firm believer that things fall apart so that other things can come together. David Ajabo at the top of the second round would be beautiful for them because it gives them everything that they wanted. And now you have 3 guys who were at one point rated in the top 15 players overall. And it just so happened that a freak injury basically allowed a top 15 player to slide out of the first round into your coffers at the second. And you got 2 of the best defensive backfield players in the last 5-6 years. So I mean,
Ray would hate that draft.
I would hate it. Oh my God, man, I would hate it. I'm not gonna lie. I'd be like,
my God.
Kyle Hamilton wearing a Jet uniform. Oh my God, man. If that happens, I might just walk away from my television tomorrow night, man.
This happens, I'm gonna call you like, yo, you okay? You didn't hit yourself yet, right?
Yeah. If this happens tomorrow, almost like the way that we selected most of these picks, I'm gonna be like overjoyed.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, well, it's funny. I know people would probably think that I dislike the Patriots more than any other team in my division, and I don't like the Patriots. Just like I don't really like the Bills. But I live so close to so many Jets fans that I like. I can't stand the New York Jets.
I understand.
I can't stand them. I can't help myself. I just hate them. I remember when I was walking down Route 9 up in Freehold one day, and I was wearing a Dolphin shirt on, and I was walking down the street. Okay. And somebody pulled over to call me an a-hole because I was wearing a Dolphin shirt.
Ooh.
And they were Jets fans.
Ooh. Ooh.
And that was 25 years ago. So, yes, I do hold grudges, okay?
Oh, my goodness. That's the funniest thing I've heard in a long time.
That is crazy. All right, we're going to jump to our next pick. Chris, you are on the clock, my man. Who are you picking for the Commanders? I'm sorry. That's Ray.
That's me.
Yeah, I'm about to say, that's not me. And Commanders is spelled wrong.
I don't know if Chris is going to agree with his pick or not, but I know he's going to like this guy. I'm taking Garrett Wilson.
Garrett, ooh.
I am. I'm taking Garrett Wilson. I think he's the best wide receiver in the draft. I think that Carson Wentz is going to need all the playmakers and get his hands on this year. So
Carson Wentz is going to need a Bible.
I think he has a Bible, man. I think the Bible is the last thing he needs.
He's gonna need it. He's gonna listen. Like you and I have talked about this guy for the longest time. I think Garrett Wilson is a great pick. I think pairing him up with the other Ohio State guy that's already there, McLaurin, I think is great. It's just like you mix and match. You can line these guys up in either position, inside or out. I actually like McLaurin, and I actually respect Garrett Wilson a lot, even though I'm a Najabo fan, Najabo Smith. But I like this guy a lot, and I love Olave too. I can't even lie. Sorry about that one. But I think this is a great pick. It fits. I think it gives Carson another target because Lord knows he's going to need it when he starts scrambling because that offensive line is horrible. He's going to need guys who can, basically take a broken play and make it into something. Yards after the catch. This is what Garrett Wilson does. I mean, he's done it for as long as he's been at Ohio State. And, he's a guy that, honestly, I think Michigan fans have a certain degree of respect for. He's not a big talker, just goes out and gets it done.
It's all right, Corey. I had a guilty pleasure of loving Marshawn Lattimore when he was coming out, too. So I hate to say that out loud, but I love Marshawn Lattimore when he came out. So I can't, like Chris said earlier, we're football fans first, then, our team.
Here we go to our teams, right.
Yeah.
Chris, you want to say something about this pick?
I love the pick. I just hate that another Buckeye is going to go to Washington. But he makes sense. You can play him on the outside. He can kill it. You can put him in the slot. Great catch radius. And just the spectacular catches he makes. It just shows excellent body control. And he may not be a burner, but he definitely reminds me a lot of like Odell Beckham Jr., where it's like when he gets that second gear going, he's gone and you're not going to be able to like catch him.
What I love about him is he attacks all three levels of the field. And like you said, he's not a burner, but you don't ever see anybody catch him from behind usually, which is usually means he has great play speed. And Terry McLaurin, I love. Jerome knows I've always liked McLaurin, but I hear a lot of whispers about him wanting a new contract. And this could set you up in case you can't re-sign him too.
Definitely.
So you always got to look for a year or two down the road just in case, So
just to respond to Darren. My guy, Josh, I met him at the Senior Bowl. Cool guy, Josh Teller. If you're watching, he will hate this pick because he actually wants London for the Commanders. So he would actually hate this pick. I like London myself. I like him a lot higher than a lot of people. But I know a lot of people do not like London for particular reasons. But
I am a big fan of London, but not before Garrett Wilson. No, that's all.
Yeah. I think, like, if you look at London, right, you turn on the highlight film, all his best plays stand out. But if you look at play-by-play, each one of these two wide receivers, London is not the complete receiver that people think he is. Yes, he's very tall. Yes, he goes and gets the jump ball. He makes the pretty plays. But is he consistent enough? And that's where I would have to say that, Garrett has been consistent. I mean,
and one guy plays in a really good conference, and one guy plays out in the West Coast where no one cares about football. Right. So
and no one plays defense.
Correct.
Wow. All right, let's get to our next pick. Chris, you were on the clock with the Vikes.
All right, let's see. Garrett Wilson's gone.
Did I mess you up again, man? Sorry, man.
You know what? I'm actually going to get a little weird with this. I'm going to fortify the defensive line, make sure that the Vikings had one of the worst run defenses in the league last year. So I'm going to go with Devontae Wyatt from Georgia.
Ooh.
Oh.
I love it. Okay, so Devontae.
Right, you guys got anything you want to say about Wyatt here?
I am a big Wyatt fan. I maybe wouldn't have taken quite that early, but I do like Devontae Wyatt, and I know people are going to think I like Wyatt. I'm not going to say he's a better football player than Jordan Davis, but I think he's a more versatile guy than Jordan Davis. So I like him. So
yeah, you already have a nose tackle there in Dalvin Thompson. And they play a 3-4. So I'm confident Wyatt can go and be in that edge spot on a 3-4 than
I agree.
Plus, he can play in an even or an odd man front. I think he can do a lot of different things. Georgia's defense was really good this year. I think he's a good football player. So
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
in the end, man, all that matters is did you get a good football player or didn't you? You know,
Right. Right. I mean, I think he's of course he's the least heralded out of any of those guys on that team in that front seven. When you think about Tyndall, you think about Quay Walker, you think about everybody else that they played with, Javon Walker. This guy does not get his just due. He's been the most consistent. He plays great with his hands. He uses leverage very well, and he has a lot of power. And I think this is, like you said, it's a great pick. It's a guy who can line up in a multitude of places, and he's going to get you production.
Yep.
Definitely. Yeah, I think it's a good pick, man. I think that a lot of people are thinking in the corner. I think that regime, yeah, whatever you say it, is is out of that building. They been trying to get corner, and I think the Vikings are just tired of trying to not really reach, but like keep seeking out corners in the first round. I think they're gonna go a kind of different route this year.
Yeah, they definitely got burned
this year with a different player. So
yeah,
I think that's I like that. Chris, you're back on the clock. You got the Texans. Who are you picking here?
Okay. Personally, for me, if we did allow trade backs, this is where I would trade back because offensive linemen are gone. All the pass rushers are gone. Probably all the best secondary guys are all gone, and I'm not confident, reaching for that.
yeah.
So, man, this is tough. Yeah, personally, all right, let's see. I'm going to have to go. I'm going to try to give Davis Mills a fighting chance. I'm going to go Drake London from USC.
Drake London, I like that pick.
I like it too.
You got a guy that can go up and get the ball, somebody who's going to go ahead and, give them he's a 50-50 ball guy this year. I think, I don't even know what the Texans run game looks like, but I think like this guy gives them a fighting chance. It's a 50-50 ball guy. I think he needs to get a little bit more consistent. He's out there with our boy though. When we look at what's the guy from Michigan who they drafted last year, wide receiver?
Nico Collins.
Thank you, Nico Collins. Nico Collins was a guy who I felt was like one of the most underrated wide receivers in all of football. You started to see him come along during the second half of the season for the Texans, and I think he did an excellent job. And I think that this is a great pick to go along with him.
I agree. I think Nico Collins don't get enough credit for his speed, and I think with London, you got two guys that are going to be able to go up and pluck the ball off the air. For a guy in Mills, you're not sure how he's going to play, and you still got Brandon Cooks there that can be your speed guy, and you can put him in the slot now when you got two X and Y's out there. So I think I like this pick. I really do, especially where, like you said, Chris, where they are with the picks, and this would be a great trade back spot. I personally think too, like you said, Chris. So great pick, Chris. Big Chris. All right, Ray, you are on the clock with the Ravens. Who you picking here? Please pick the player. Please pick the player.
What player would you like me to pick, Jerome? No.
I'll say after. Go ahead.
Okay,
I got the next pick.
I'm taking George Kalafdis from Purdue, edge rusher, defensive lineman from Purdue.
Okay. I'm gonna piss some people off. Go ahead, Ray. Why you pick him here?
Because I think edge is a position they need some depth at, and Karlaftis is my next rated edge player. So I think that he's a versatile guy who can play on either side. He can either play strong side, big end, and he can give you enough pass rush. If you watch him play against Notre Dame, he single-handedly kept Purdue's defense in that game. So the kid, I think he may be one of the most underrated players in college football. I do. So,
what you guys think about this pick?
I think so. I agree with Ray. The kid started ever since his freshman year. He was a guy that was recruited by everyone, but shocked a lot of people by going to Purdue. And I think that it paid off for them. It was like a gamble that paid off for him. He produced consistently and actually got better. I used to think he was like a myth. I used to hear about him on a recruiting trail. And then I saw this kid. I wasn't that impressed with his film. I thought he was okay. I thought he was like that big kid that ended up going to Clemson last year, but ended up getting there.
Bryce
Brees.
Yeah.
Brees got there, and what did he do? He produced. I think the same thing with George. I think he's a great player. Football is in his blood. He loves the game. I think it's a good pick.
Chris,
he's a culture pick too. Like I think he fits with the culture. I'm sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. He's a versatile guy. Baltimore likes them kind of kids. And he's a guy that you can line up on anywhere in the line on your line. You move him inside, and he'll give you a nice pass rush underneath. He's got heavy hands. He's great off the snap. I just think he's just a good football player.
Yeah. I like the pick, but I don't like it for the reason why I'm about to pick my pick, which is the first Eagles pick. And then you're right. If this happens tomorrow, I'm gonna be sweating bullets, and Ray, you know why?
I know why.
Because Jordan Davis is still there, and I do not want Jordan Davis on my team.
So don't take him.
I'm gonna piss all you Eagles fans off. I'm not.
So that means Howie's gonna take him.
He said he's going. That means Howie's going to take him. I agree.
Howie is going to take him. Howie is definitely going to do it if he's there. And this is my biggest fear for next week. I hope somebody jump us or something. I don't know, but I do not want this man on my team. So with that being said, I'm not picking him. Corey, you got the other Eagles pick. If you want to pick him there, by all means, I'm not going to do it. I just can't. I'm going to hang myself if I see this happen. I don't want to see him.
Be honest with yourself, Jerome.
I know. But this next pick might also be how you pick too, because one, there's a player that I want, and Ray's laughing because he thinks he knows what I'm about to do. And I would love to get Lloyd right here. This would be my pick. But if I had to choose, and the way this board is going, and looking at who's still on the board, and the way that I know how the Eagles pick. We usually go offense first. So I'm going with Mr. Jameis Williams here, wide receiver from Alabama.
I like it.
Chris, you don't like that? All right, tell me. Talk to me.
I'm extremely worried about getting guys who are coming right off an injury. He's going to miss training camp. He's going to miss a few fights of the season. And if this draft is what Howie says at times about giving Jalen Hurts a fighting chance to prove that he could be the quarterback of the future, this isn't the pick to do it.
You think? Are you thinking? I think. All right. Are you thinking of Olave?
No, honestly.
You would have got Davis.
Honestly, I was thinking about cornerback because we still have a big, giant, gaping hole at the cornerback 2 position.
See, that's the thing. I'm not high on. It's not that I'm not high on Duffy. I think 15's a little rich for me, in my opinion.
Oh, I wasn't thinking about Duffy at all. I was thinking about Andrew Booth.
Oh, I forgot about Booth. I'm not gonna lie. I am not gonna lie. I forgot about Booth. Wow. I give you that, Chris. I give you that. I'm not gonna lie. I forgot about Booth. Wow. That was a good pick, Chris. Oh man. Maybe we'll get him in the next pick. I don't know. Corey, do the right thing. Corey. All right. So
I'm a bigger McDuffie fan than I am a Booth fan. In
actuality. Can somebody answer me a question? Why is Howie Roseman making picks anyway?
I've been asking this for years.
My dad always calls him the owner's son, and he treats
pretty much. I mean, because you're
the illegitimate owner's son.
I understand. I don't know. I know Jerome has played a decent amount of football. I'm pretty sure Chris has. I'm pretty sure Corey has. I mean, I played when I was younger.
Right.
I think the only thing he knows about football is he knows a lot of guys that know football. Okay.
Yeah.
There you go. And he rubs people the wrong way, apparently.
His voice rubs me the wrong way.
He just reminds me of like the guy that like fed around and had like trading cards and
exactly right. He's Howard Eskin.
He knows all the stats.
The only thing he knows about athletes is he knows a lot of athletes. Okay,
but the difference. Howard Eskin is actually cool. This guy is completely not cool.
Howard's not cool to me, man.
You think Howard's cool?
No,
Have you ever met Howard in
not
person?
at all.
No.
Listen, Howard and Howie give the same vibe of trying to be the smartest guy in the room.
Yeah. Howard Eskin is very arrogant. But
what I don't like about Howard Eskin is this: in Miami has a guy named Inwar Kelly who covers the Dolphins, and he's very similar. They get good information.
Right.
They do get a lot of good insight from the players. But once a guy is nice to them, they will never criticize them. I don't need that. If you're not going to give me the real scuttlebutt about a player, good or bad, then I don't want you covering my team. Everybody's not going to like you. And if they do like you, you're not doing your job.
Right. Absolutely.
All right, let's get off the Eagle talk. I know we all can talk Eagle quickly, right? Too. But we're going to talk about the next team, which are the Saints, and that will be done by Corey. Who you giving the Saints here, sir?
So, all right, when you look at the Saints' needs, wide receiver and quarterback are the two biggest things that stick out. You want somebody to go opposite of Michael Thomas. Honestly, I would go with Chris Olave here. Somebody who's a playmaker. Once again, somebody who just gets it done consistently. You have a lot of different mix and match, scenarios. You can go there with Kamara, with Michael Smith. They have some pretty good young tight ends. So it's just like, that's in my heart of hearts. That's who I would go with. The kid is just a playmaker, and I hate to admit it as a Michigan fan, but honestly, I don't remember what number did he wear when he first got there. He's making plays in that number.
One?
It was 1. He was making plays in that number, switches numbers, still comes back making plays. Najaba steps up, Wilson steps up. This kid is still the leader of that bunch. When you look at what each of those two wide receivers will mean to, the league in the next few years, because I honestly, I think the world of Njaba Smith, but Olave is the leader. He's the guy like our Hutchinson. He's the heart and soul. He brings it all together. He makes it all work. And honestly, that's my pick.
The thing I hate about Ohio State, which is a lot of things, by the way,
right?
But the fact that they got like 3 other wide receivers are probably gonna be really good next year too.
Yeah, especially the kid from Philly.
Smith and Jibba, Marvin Harrison Jr.,
right?
Julian Fleming also in the fold as well.
I think Julian Fleming. I don't see that. Like that kid. Oh man, I think he's the most hyped player from the state of Pennsylvania in a very long time.
Well, what I know about Ohio State receivers is, for one, they're all good.
Yeah, they are.
2, they all run good routes, so I'll take that guy. So
yeah, I agree. All right, we got the Saints off the board. They got Olave. Let's go to our next pick with the Chargers, and that will be Chris. Who are you picking right there for the Bolts?
The Chargers is interesting because after the offseason that they have and, the trade for Khalil Mack, this is pretty much a luxury pick for them. So I'm thinking offensive lineman because they definitely have a need at right tackle, but I'm too scared. I'm just going to go to safe pick. I'm going to go Trent McDuffie from Washington.
Oh, you see?
Yeah.
You see that, right?
I saw that.
Oh, you gave me the left foot right there. Wow. I really thought you were going to go Davis. I think you said Khalil Mack, and I was like, ooh, pair him with Davis. But go ahead. Why you pick him instead of Davis there?
I just don't like drafting guys who are going to be off the field on third downs. It's a passing league. McDuffie is even if McDuffie's nothing more than a slot corner, he's always going to be on the field because of the way that everybody loves to spread out the wide receivers and these routes. I don't like drafting 2-down offensive linemen in the first, defensive linemen in the first round.
Namaste. For real. Because that's exactly what me and Ray been saying for weeks, and this is exactly why I didn't want him at 15. But go ahead. I digress. Anybody else want to add on to why McDuffie be a good picture?
I think McDuffie, when you look at it, he's a baller. Got to see him in that first game versus Michigan. Came into the game thinking he was a little bit overhyped, left with a lot of respect for him. You're talking about a guy that, in his whole entire career only gave up 2 deep plays. that says a lot, especially in a conference where they love to pass and there's a lot of great athletes. Still young. Got to remember he's only 21. He came out after his red shirt sophomore year. I think he just makes plays. Like he only gave up what? Like he didn't give up more than 100 yards the whole year.
Yeah, and pairing him up with Asante Samuel Jr., I think that's a good pairing right there.
Yeah, I agree.
What do you think,
I
right?
think about that one.
No, I'm a Trent McDuffie fan. I think he's a good football player. I think that even though he's not the tallest guy, he's only like 5'10" or so. He has nice 34-inch arms. So that is like, if you can't give me size, give me arm length. So,
Yeah, there you go.
All right, let's get to our next pick, and that will be our Philadelphia Eagles once again. So, Corey, you are in control of this one. I'm very nervous. Who are you picking?
There's only one way you can go with this pick. It's only one. It's just like if you look at it, right? We have the kid from Louisiana Tech, Williams, I think he's going to be a great, sturdy player for a long time to come. I am a Jordan Davis fan, but I believe that Jordan Davis in the league is going to get his ass handed to him more times than less on the early going, and the only reason why is conditioning. I feel like he's a guy that's going to give you every bit of what he has, but is he going to be on the field long enough when you need it? He adds to the mix of great defensive tackles, but is defensive tackle our greatest need? No, it's linebacker. So for that reason, I'm going to have to go with the best physical linebacker in the draft, and that is Devin Lloyd. Everything he does is wall, and he's always in the passing lane. He's always tipping the ball. He's picking the ball off. This guy can literally do everything you need. He can block. He can shed blocks. He can blitz. He can cover. I mean, if you put him up against some of the best tight ends in the league, I would love to see him match up with Kittles. I think that's a great matchup. Him versus George Kittle. I think it's a great matchup. I think that pretty much he matches up with almost every tight end with the exception of Kelsey. But I still think he gives Kelsey a run for his money. But, the kid is what? He's 6'3", 200, almost 30, 40 pounds. And he's got a frame where he can still pack on muscle, still be explosive. I love his measurables. I got to go Devin Lloyd.
Hey, Ray, I just want to thank you for bringing on Corey. I want to thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
You know what the shame of it is? Corey's sitting here with us, and your guy won't pick him tomorrow.
I know.
Here's a question for you guys. I know Jerome knows the answer to this. Do you guys know when the last time was the Eagles drafted a linebacker in the first round?
Hold on, let me think.
Marcus Smith.
No, Marcus Smith was the edge guy, but he's still
edge. He was the edge.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't think of it.
1979. The last time they drafted a linebacker in the first round.
Yeah. And this is why we have the issues we have.
Really?
We're playing and undrafted rookie free agents.
That goes all the way back. Andy Reid does not draft linebackers early. Never did, never will.
Oh, he did the last 2 years though.
Not in the first round, man. Andy Reid takes corners, edge players, and quarterbacks in the first round. Almost every year.
Yep.
Yes, these guys on his tree.
Remember Jerry Robinson? Do you guys even know who Jerry Robinson is?
Yeah.
No.
He was a linebacker out of UCLA. The first time the Eagles ever drafted a linebacker in the first round.
Was he good?
He was very good, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Very good.
And this is why we need to get this guy. Well, go ahead, Chris. Tell me how you feel about this pick, sir.
I never thought the idea of Devin Lloyd not only falling this far, but the fact that he would fall in the lap and be picked by us isn't something that is even in my mind because I know how he thinks and I know how he drafts. I mean, the resume is right then and forth. But this is a perfect pick. And we picked up Kazir White. TJ Edwards got extended. But this is a guy that's definitely going to be the leader of this defense for multiple years to come. And more importantly, as much as people talk about, Hassan Reddick, I mean, you could put, you don't pay Hassan Reddick $45 million to play linebacker. No, you bought him in to rush the passer. So at that point, that solidifies our front seven for years to come.
We got some smart people in here.
I agree with everything you just said, except for the fact that the Eagles will do it. That's all.
That's the only hang up. If Devin Lloyd's here at 18 and Howard drafts him, I'm just like, listen, Corey is a genius.
I'll tell you what, Chris. Do you still live in this area or no?
I also live in Philly, yes.
Okay, so I'll tell you what I'll do. If they do that, I'll buy you lunch one day, okay, brother?
Awesome.
You got it, man. And I'll pay up on like the guys that lose bets to me. Go ahead. Right, Jerome?
Yes, sir. No, he will.
Remember the year that I was going to take Dwayne Haskins with the 15th pick? Remember that year, Jerome?
All right, now the next pick, we got the Saints and Ray. That will be your pick. Who you giving the Saints here at 19?
You know what? This is a little bit difficult for me, but I'm going to take I'm taking Jermaine Johnson for Florida State.
I was just looking at him.
That would be if knowing Howie Roseman, that's who Howie Roseman would take.
Honestly, you're right.
I would be fine with that.
No, absolutely. That's a good pick. I would rather have Devin Lloyd because I think your edge guys are right now.
Right.
And I think Devin Lloyd is an impact player in my second level. So, but I already know the Eagles won't do that, so it's all good.
Stop. No,
hey, listen. I'm just saying, if the picks are Jermaine Johnson, that's probably my biggest NFL draft crush right now, and Devin Lloyd, then I won't say anything for the.
If they do that, that would maybe be the best first round the Eagles have had in 5 years.
Absolutely.
Wow. This might be true.
That's saying a lot.
Yeah, that is definitely saying a lot. I'm trying to think back to contend with who I would put up there.
Last year's first round was really good.
Last year was a good draft, and I think 2018 they had a good solid draft. But getting Devin Lloyd in the first round to go along with the edge guys they just picked up as a free agent, like Chris said, I mean that sets up your second level of defense where Devin Lloyd can go sideline to sideline, and you can pretty much send the house if you want to. Yeah. So I love that. Again, I know it won't happen, but it would be very exciting if I were an Eagles fan.
Yeah.
So Ray, real quick, you got Jermaine Johnson on a team. You got Davenport, and you have Cam Jordan. Is this for the eventual replacement of Cam Jordan? Or are you looking at Davenport like, I don't think you're good enough. Let's put Jermaine Johnson in there.
What you just said. Plus, I think that Jermaine Johnson can probably play some 3-4 outside linebacker if I really wanted him to. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I want to cover people, but I think if you just let him set the edge and get to the quarterback, I think that you can. Plus, you can move one of them other two guys inside. Plus, Johnson's big enough and physical enough with heavy enough hands where he could play some inside on third downs.
Yeah. And not to mention, the guy, he transferred out of Georgia because look how crowded that defense, that front seven was. And those first, 3 games at Florida State, he blew the doors off, as soon as he got there.
Yeah, I just thought, really honestly, Jerome, I looked at the best players, and he was right at my top of my board right now. So I just took him.
I respect it. No, for real. All right, so now I am on the clock. I got the next 2 picks, and I'm going to make this really fast because, one, this is the team that I believe was going to try to trade up to get a quarterback. And if there's only one quarterback taken in the first round, I'm going to take him. He's going to be in that same state. I know everybody's going to be like, little hands. I don't care. Kenny Pickett.
Look at that man. Look at him.
Don't care.
Look at those hands, man.
Man's a baller.
My hands are bigger than his.
I think 20 is a good spot for him. I really do. I mean,
no, it is a good spot for him. It is. I've told you before, Jerome. I think if anybody maybe will take Kenny Pickett, I think it could be the Steelers. I think that, again, in-town kid, played at the University of Pittsburgh. If he's going to succeed, he's going to succeed in a team that is a running team who can use him with the playoff action. I think that's, if I were Kenny Pickett, that's a team I would want to go to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely true. I think Kenny fits. I think it's more of not just a football pick. I think it's a city pick. I think when you think about the city of Pittsburgh, I mean, this guy he's gonna revitalize them in a way that they don't really have anybody that a lot of people can get behind right now. Juju's gone. No Antonio Brown. Roethlisberger's gone. So it's like, who do you really stand behind offensively? Like, who's there anymore? So I think picking Kenny Pickett actually sells some jerseys and put some people in the stands. And Kenny Pickett, how can you not like his story? How could you not want to root for him? Yeah, he has small hands. Yeah, he's a quarterback who wears gloves, which I don't necessarily like. But it's like you can't help but to root for this guy, even with his small hands and gloves. It's like, oh, man, give me the Kenny Pickett gloves. I mean, you could probably sell a lot of gloves with Kenny Pickett's name on it after this. I mean, I think it's a great pick. He can scramble, he can run. And that pump fake with the where he would act like he was going to spike the ball, come on.
Legendary. Legendary.
College football in the last.
They made a rule for him.
Just for him, right? Exactly. He's a rock star. He's a rock star, and I think it's a great pick.
Yeah, I like the pick also. Personally, for me, I feel like Pittsburgh has an opportunity to trade back, and they still be able to get Kenny Pickett with a bunch of picks. But him, Najee Harris, Chase Claypool, that's definitely your.
And that was actually about to be my point too, because Pittsburgh want to start relying on the run again. They only didn't do it because they had Big Ben, and then they realized this year that Big Ben is actually starting to lose his arm a little bit. They start trying to run again. I think the pick of Najee Harris, having him in the second year, Kenny Pickett don't have to be the guy. He don't have to be the guy. So I like it.
And people talk about their offensive line, but their offensive line was pretty much all rookies last year. So that's a lot of continuity going forward, along with your quarterback of the future and your running back of the future as well.
No, I agree. Great. All right, let's get to the next pick, and that's be my second pick in a row. And I'm going to pick a player that I think they're going to love right here. And I hate the Patriots. Ray hates the Patriots. Oh, no, not him.
He's gone.
He's going. I'm still looking for him, but Ray hates the Patriots. I hate the Patriots. I think Chris does too. I don't want him to see him here because he tore up my team last year. He was probably one of the single reasons that Michigan could not do nothing against Georgia, and that was Dean. He was all over us in that game. And I think Patriots, and they will love a guy with that kind of range and speed in their linebacker position. What you guys think?
I agree. I think that when you look at Nakobe Dean, he's not the tallest guy, but when you think about like his heart, I think when you talk about the heart of a player, you can't get a bigger heart than that guy, man. Like he was the heart and soul of that Georgia defense. The most respected, most consistent player there, and Davis and playing behind Wyatt assisted him a lot. He didn't have a lot to sift through. If you look at it, he just kind of slid through blocks and just made plays. Very good at tracking the ball, very good at putting himself involved in every play that, whether it was a pass or a run, he was in it. So I give him his credit.
I like Nakobe Dean. I think he's a good football player. I do think that if there's a spot and a team that will use Jordan Davis the right way, it would be New England.
Yeah.
I forgot Davis is on the board. Honestly, I forgot he was still on the board.
Personally, go ahead, Ray.
No, I'm sorry. Yeah, Chris. I'm fine. It's fine.
Oh, no. Like, either Georgia, either be Dean or Davis. I feel like both of those guys are going to be Belichick guys. So I feel like either one of these picks, and not to mention, everybody's scared off about his size, and rightfully so. But to me, the guy is a natural leader. He plays sideline to sideline. He's a secure ball tackler. And honestly, this year, if I can make this comparison, he reminds me of this year's Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah.
Yeah, I think that's a good comparison, actually. I think that, like you said, like Chris said, I think both of these guys, Nakobe Dean is a good football player, and he's going to make plays no matter where he goes. Mm-hmm. He is a New England type of a guy where he can drop back into some coverage. He can come and get to the quarterback if you want him to. But I would not be surprised if New England were the team that jumps on Jordan Davis if he's still there. That's all.
Yeah, and honestly, I think if I would have remembered Jordan Davis there, I would have picked him there. I forgot about him. I thought he was outside out of mind. He didn't get picked by the Eagles. I was happy.
Bill Belichick likes some big, big defensive lineman that could play like one from a 0 to a 3 tech and do some things in odd and even fronts. But again, I think Nakobe Dean's a better football player. I know that people are going to think that's sacrilege because I know people are loving Jordan Davis right now. But New England is the one team that would get him on the field and get the most out of him, I think. So
yeah, and we're not doing trades right now, but I do think if he's not, I honestly think somebody's going to trade up for Jordan Davis. I really do. And I hope he comes in front of the Eagles, and I'll be hoping.
If you trade up for an overweight defensive tackle, then you're dumb. Okay.
Howie's going to do it. Howie's going to do it.
But if I'm just gonna say this, but if it was Belichick doing it, I completely understand. Like some organizations, they just operate differently. And just to make a little like NBA reference, like the way Miami Heat runs their organization, they have like a body fat requirement in order for you to even be on the sidelines to suit up and play. That's how I kind of feel like if Jordan Davis was to go to New England, Belichick would get the most out of him because of that.
I do agree with that. My thing is like I keep hearing, well, what happens when an NFL team gets him and they get him to lose some weight? Well, dude, he went from 360 to 340 from the end of the season to the combine. So how much more weight is he going to lose? And
it's not about losing; it's about keeping it off. That's the problem.
That's all, dude. I've never met a fat guy that liked the scale, dude. So it is what it is. I mean, that's coming from a fat guy that never really liked scale. So it's all good.
Same here.
There are plenty of big guys in the world that have the unlimited stamina. So if Jordan Davis can definitely master that, and I feel like Belichick will be able to do that, then that's a perfect pick. Nakobe Dean's perfect also.
Right. I just think it's again, New England will get the most out of him. I do worry about the fact that this is why I think this is a good spot for him too. Anywhere after 15, I think is a good solid pick for Jordan Davis. I think that the players people are saying like, I've heard people say he's a top 5 pick. If you take a guy who's had 7 sacks in 3 seasons, then again, man, you need to rethink what you're thinking. That's all.
I mean, unless they probably think he's probably the best run stuffer in college football history and probably the best coming out of the draft in like recent memory.
All right, let's get to our next pick. What were you saying?
No, I was just saying I just admire him for his athleticism. That guy he's different.
Yeah, I give him that. All right, Ray, you are at number 22 with the Packers. Who are you giving them there?
Hold on one second, guys. I lost my place on my list here. Yeah. Got it back now. And who do I have now here, Drum? I'm sorry.
22.
You have the Packers.
The Packers, Green Bay Packers. You know what? I'm going to take Treylon Burks, wide receiver.
Exactly who I was thinking also.
Yeah.
That is one heck of a pick.
Well, I think that he's a big guy who can play both inside and outside.
Right.
And honestly, if you don't get, after what you've done in free agency this year, you don't get Aaron Rodgers a wide receiver. I know he just signed a big contract. It's not going to stop him from belly aching like a little kid like he always does. So,
Yeah.
That presents I'm sorry, Chris, go ahead.
Oh, no. If you don't get Rodgers a receiver or 2 in this draft, he's retiring on day 3 of the draft.
Would not surprise me.
That is a definite fact. The thing I like most about this is you think about the matchups, right? You think, OBJ, Sammy Watkins, and then Burke. That's dangerous. I like that. And it's just like it revitalizes what they do. A bunch of fresh legs. This kid is like, physically, you see this kid? This kid is amazing. The things that he's done at Arkansas with pretty much a crappy situation at quarterback the previous years, and then looking at what he turned up this year and did, you got to love him.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. All right, let's get to our next pick, which will be
the Arizona
by my man Corey. Even though we can't see you right now,
I know. I'm sorry. I think I should just turn the camera part off.
You're good. You good?
You sure?
You good?
Okay,
However you want to do it, man. You good?
All right. So basically, when I think about it, it's just like Arizona, offensive line, interior, I mean, especially center has not been like the best thing for them. I am a Tyler Lindenbaum fan, even though I know they could utilize a defensive lineman like a Jordan Davis. I'm kind of stuck between the two. And then looking at Booth. Booth, I think, presents the best option for them at this pick. I mean, Jordan Davis is like we said, he's a great guy. You know, it's a position of need, but I have to go with Andrew Booth at this pick, only
Sir.
because like I feel like he's consistent. I feel like he has some really good feet. He can give them something that they haven't had since Peterson left. You know, it's just like I got to go with Booth with this one. I don't know. This is my instinct is telling me go with Booth over Lindenbaum.
No, I agree. I like this pick for the Cardinals. I think that Booth was starting to fall a little bit. And not like I say, if I probably would have remembered him earlier, I would have got him for the Eagles. But I think this is an excellent pick, a great value pick. They've been needing a corner for a while since Patrick Peterson. So I like it. Chris, Ray, you got anything you want to add to this?
Nah, good pick. Very good
No,
pick.
really good pick.
Very good pick.
Awesome. All right. Well, I'm sorry, Chris. I didn't do this on purpose. You got the Cowboys. They're on the clock. You take it right here.
Well, that's the risk you run from joining in on a mock draft way too late, slim pickings. But honestly, if I'm Dallas, this is perfect for me because everybody is mocking, Kenyon Green, to him, but I'm going to go offensive lineman, but it's not Kenyon Green. I'm going to probably go with the most versatile interior lineman in this draft, and I'm going to go Zion Johnson from Boston College.
Yeah, I don't even have a graphic for him. But yeah, I was literally about to pick his next, and then I ran out of time. But man, yeah, surprising pick. Ray, what do you think about that one?
Love Zion Johnson. At one point, I wanted Miami, if they'd held on to their first-round pick, to move up and try to get him. I think you add him to Miami's offensive mix and either a center or a guard, and then you got the foundation of doing something up front. So,
we think
correct. I agree. I like Zion Johnson. A lot of people don't know he started his career at Davidson, and transfer kid. Showed a lot of moxie. He lined up in a lot of positions this year. Watched the game that they had versus I think it was like Clemson, and he pretty much showed why Clemson's offensive line outside of Brees was overrated this year. He's versatile, kind of reminds you of Jason Peters a lot, because he's in that 6'4" range, not exactly the biggest guy, but when you line him up, he's nimble on his feet. He's like a ballet dancer, he plays on his toes, and I just like the way he finishes blocks.
And not to mention this pick, you only have one legitimate constant on that offensive line fully healthy, and that's Zach Martin. If you can squeeze out another season or two of Tyron Smith, you have bring in Zion Johnson, you can bring back the old identity of what made Dallas a legitimate, successful playoff and potential Super Bowl contender, which is a strong offensive line and a really good running game. They need to go back to that, and Zion Johnson with this pick is a way for them to get back to that.
Agreed.
Definitely. All right, I'm on the clock. I got the Bills, and normally I would be like, hey, man, there's not a lot of holes that the Bills have. Go with running back. But my instincts tell me go with the best player on the board.
Mm-hmm.
And that tells me to grab Jordan Davis. I'm going to go there with him.
I applaud this pick.
You like it? Yeah, best player available. It's not a pick that they necessarily definitely need, but if he pans out the way that a lot of people are saying, with the pass rushers that just brought into that place, I mean, man, they're looking at like a dangerous team right there with that combination. I want to hear from you guys. What do you think?
Who wants to go first?
I'll go. if Jordan Davis falls to 25, then you can't really argue that pick at all.
Correct.
And the Buffalo Bills definitely need to shore up that defensive front, especially after the showing that they had in Kansas City in that playoff game. Run stuffer, he eats up a lot of space, so hopefully it opens up, those pass rushers on the side, opens up for Bashan, Rossio, and whatever other potential offensive, defensive linemen that they could possibly get in this draft. I know everybody wants thinking about running backs, the running back from Iowa State, but it's a deep class when it comes to running backs. You don't need to force yourself in terms of getting a running back, especially this early.
Yeah. And go ahead, Ray.
No, I agree with Chris. I think that Buffalo has 3 needs. Running back is one of them, but it is the one that I would worry about a little bit later. Defensive tackle is one, and they could use a corner. It really hurt them last year not having enough good cornerbacks on the field last year. So
I agree with that.
I forgot about that.
You want to say something real quick?
I mean, it's nothing else left to really be said about this pick. Jordan Davis, dominant, can present a lot of different matchup problems up front, especially with the guys they have surrounding them. I like Buffalo. I'm not going to lie. I think they're a good young team. I think Sean McDermott has them going in the right direction. I don't necessarily see them making the Super Bowl, but I see them definitely presenting the spoiler role to a lot of teams.
Yeah, and Ray definitely brought up a good point about the cornerback. I completely forgot about that. Kyrie Allen would have also been a really good pick here.
Would have been a good, well, absolutely. But again, defensive tackle is a need for them. Don't worry, Corey. I'll tell Jamie what you said, man. You'll get some bonus points with him tomorrow. Jamie is my property manager, and he's a huge Buffalo Bills fan. So
Hey, there's one thing you guys are missing in this, and that's kind of why I wanted you guys to talk. Y'all forgot they got Von Miller.
They did. But I mean, that's again, like Chris said, though, you get Davis in there. He's eating up blocks, and it just gives more room for Von Miller, AJ Epineza to get around that outside, man, and cause havoc in the backfield. Because, like I say, Jerome, I know corners are important. You know, it's more important. Pressure on the quarterback, dude. Right?
You're welcome. I just answered your debate with
Thanks, man.
For a while. But I will say this too. The problem that all of us, I think Corey was the only one that didn't say this, but the problem that we had with Jordan Davis is that he's not going to be on the field all the time. That's not going to be an issue now because now you got a guy that can kind of rotate in on a really stacked defensive line and can rotate him in and put him in with the guy from Houston, Ed Oliver,
Ed Oliver, yeah.
There you go.
Well, again, that just does again. Ed Oliver's going to love having that guy next to me who's going to take on double teams because what Ed Oliver does quit is get off the snap and get in that backfield. Now he's got a guy who's going to take double teams from him. It's going to make his job easier.
Right.
Yeah, I seen that pick and I was like, I kind of have to do this. I mean, it just
again, you can't. You have a guy who's a top 15 player. You know, anywhere from 15 to 25, you're going to win, man. You're fine. Yeah. And it is a solid year for corners too. So,
yes, sir. All right, let's get to the Titans. That will be you, Ray. Who are you picking right there for the Titans?
You know what? This is going to not be a popular pick, I don't believe.
Come on.
But I'm going to take Tyler Linderbaum. I'm taking him.
Yep, there you go.
I felt an offensive lineman coming right here. And Chris do not like it. Chris, who would you? Well, go ahead, Ray. I'll let you finish. Then I'll go.
Jerome, you know I like fat guys, man. Come on, you know how it is.
Chris, why did you? Who was you looking for at this pick?
For the record, I love Linderbaum. The drop off between Linderbaum and every other center in this draft is like 2 tiers down. I thought Ray was gonna, get a little saucy, get a little fun, drafting like a Desmond Ridder.
You know what though? If it were in the second round, I would have. I as Jerome knows, I think that Ryan Tannehill is a good quarterback, but I don't think he's anything special. I just think he's a good quarterback.
Yeah.
All right, Chris, you are on the board. You got the Bucks. Who are you picking, sir?
All right. First off, I know you and Corey are going to like this pick. The fact that he fell, and it's kind of like my Dallas pick. He fell. Nothing about this draft has impeded this process, but you have a hole at the secondary position, and I'm going to go Daxton Hill from Michigan.
Oh no! I knew he was gonna do it. Oh man! See, he's one of the guys that I was kind of hoping, and I don't think it is now because he's everybody knows him now. I was hoping that he was the unkept secret that people knew about him but didn't really know about him, because like Ray said earlier, for some reason Michigan underplays their guys, but this man, he plays really. He's an excellent player, and I think that you didn't see it as much as a pop from him because he was moving around so much. Mm-hmm. But I love Daxton Hill, man. I was hoping him to be somebody for like the Eagles or something like that, where you have a versatile kind of safety back there that can do a lot, or put him in the slot if you need to, wherever you think you can pit him up. So I love Daxton Hill. What you guys think about Daxton?
I think he's a good player. I like Daxton Hill. I think he's versatile. I think he can tackle. He can play in the slot. He does a lot of good things for your football team. I'm a fan. So
I think I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry, Rome. Go ahead. You go first.
You're a guest. Go ahead.
Thank you. Excuse me for turning the camera off real quick, but we just jumped out the car. But so basically, I love Dax Hill. I love Dax Hill ever since we stole him back from Alabama. It was a recruiting battle that a lot of people didn't think we were going to win. He's been our Swiss Army knife in the defensive backfield, a guy who can play a lot of different positions. I still think he's probably better suited for safety or nickel. But, I feel like he can do so many different things. And I think, once again, he's just scratching the surface. I love our strength and conditioning coach. I think that he gets the best out of our players, even from when they step onto the next level. I think they're very prepared, from day one. And I think that Dax at this pick, it makes a lot of sense. And I think Dax actually starts from day one. I don't see him being behind anybody.
Yeah, my only question, because I'm not 100% sure how Temple defense is. Do they play a lot of too high safety? Because they got Winsfield. Do they play too high safety?
They do.
Yeah.
Okay.
They do.
Right. In that case, I love this pick.
They do.
Not to mention you have a giant hole at a starting safety spot with losing Jordan Whitehead to the Jets. Your start safeties now is Antoine Winfield and Logan Ryan. So I feel like he's going to start over Ryan on day one. And not to mention they're a physical defense. So I feel like his versatility is going to be much added. Todd Bowles is going to have a lot of fun, drawing up plays.
And the thing I like about it is you could play him in the slot, and he could play like in 3 safety looks, where one of them guys can come down and play almost like a linebacker spot, because a lot of teams will play that 4-2-5 and just bring that extra safety down, like play that linebacker spot. I think Daxton Hill is a very versatile player. Swiss Army knife is a good term for him, and it makes your defense versatile. And puts Todd Bowles' stamp of approval on that type of a player. So
absolutely, I couldn't agree more. And I just think like Michigan players, they just make sense. I mean, look at Tom Brady.
Oh God, Tom Brady. Oh man, dude, we got to go back there, man. It was like 100 years ago, right? Tom Brady.
I'm glad he said it, even though I don't like Tom Brady. But let's move along. Let's go to the Packers. Corey, you are actually on the board. Who are you picking there at 28?
I have to look at it like this. I think, prior to the other picks, their biggest need was definitely wide address that need. When we look at linemen, I think that is probably their next biggest need. And now that's the hard part. Now it's like, which lineman do you actually select? Once again, you got to make our guy Rodgers feel comfortable. I'm thinking about the kid Bernard from Central Michigan. Pretty much is a tight end convert, very athletic. I believe he's from Germany originally. He's a guy that I think stands out. The only thing I don't really like about him is his age. I look at him at being 24, and I'm like, how much of a ceiling does he have? And it's just like, do I trade this pick away? Do I go ahead and take a player that I don't really need per se? I know a lot of people like Trevor Penning. He's a bigger tackle. He's a lot younger, but honestly, I'm going to go with something that I think a lot of people may not like. I think I want Kyer Elam, the cornerback from Florida.
Okay.
I think it's something that a lot of people won't like. They won't respect it. But I feel like a kid at this juncture to draft that athletic, I just can't pass on him. It's something about him that I like, and it's just like, it's nothing against anything that Green Bay Packers have going on in the defensive backfield. But I think when you can get a guy of that caliber at this pick, and I just have to take him, and that's just my rationale. I feel like when it comes to, what game did I watch him play? And he was fantastic. It was a game late in the season where he basically lost them the game from a penalty. But I know that basically, the kid killed it versus every big game they had. He's long, he's physical. I think he may end up being the better corner and that better greater corner out of all these corners that are drafted this year. I think he may be the guy years from now we're talking about, just strictly off his athleticism.
You scared me for a second because what I'm about to say. So that last part just threw me off because I like this pick in a sense of today's NFL is all about passing. And when you're playing the Packers, when you have Aaron Rodgers, you're going to have to keep passing to keep up with him normally.
Right.
But also I'm like, man, they already got Stokes. They already got my man
Rasul Douglas.
They just re-signed Rasul Douglas and their number one corner, which I'm
Jair Alexander.
They're really good. They got a lot of good corners already. I like it in the sense of, yes, this is a passing league. You can get the more corners, the better. I know Ray's scratching his head like, about that. But at the same time, they already got a lot of good corners.
So my only question is, Rasul Douglas is good now? When did that happen?
Yeah, I'm not a big Rasul Douglas fan.
If Gary
Elam will beat him out before game 3. Okay.
No, you're right. But Ray, remember this. You already got Xavier Alexander. You already got Stokes. Stokes show a lot of promise. Alexander is one of the top cornerbacks in the league. I don't care what anybody says. So you put Rasul Douglas in there. He can be your slot corner. You don't have to worry about him as much. And now you're putting Elam back there too. That's the only thing.
But the thing about Elam is he can play some safety for you. He can return kicks for you. I think he's a good football player. And Jerome, this is my sweet spot for cornerbacks, dude. I don't like drafting them too early. Yeah, but the end of the first round, second round is where you get a lot of value for these guys.
Yeah. I just think that he has a star quality. And I think that's what it comes down to. I think Jair Alexander is a great guy.
He's got good speed.
Right.
He's got a nice switch to him. I think he's a good football player.
Yeah, I think there's something about this kid that when you turn on the film, you can't help but like him. He's kind of like Kaylon Barnes for Baylor. It's like, yeah, there may be some other corners you take before him, but when you turn on the film, he balls. This kid balls, and that's what I like about him. And ever since I saw him in that last second half of the season going into the stretch before championship week, I liked everything about this kid. And it was just like, wow, I really hope he comes back to Florida this year. And then it's like, okay, the coaching changed, things change for him. He moves on, but I think that he has so much room to grow. And, yeah, I do like what Green Bay has in the defensive backfield, but they don't have a star. And I think their front seven is great. I think their backing guys, they're good, but I couldn't pass on Elam, man. I'm sorry.
Chris, Chris looked like he has something to say. I'm gonna let Chris talk because he.
Well, they technically do have a star. Jair Alexander's the top 5 corner, but I do like the pick. To me, if the idea is, okay, we get Kyer Elm, and the idea now for your secondary is for Jair Alexander to 100% shadow the best wide receiver and have Elm just play on like one outside, then to me that works. But also, you also lost Darius Smith, which is a huge hole on your pass rushing. You still have a bunch of young guys. You still have Preston Smith, but personally, I don't mind the pick. You could also go Drake Jackson from USC also to shore up that pass rush, get yourself another young pass rusher into your fold as well.
I agree with that. I just think that like Elam has like one of my top 20 players, so I always kind of lean towards value over everything else. So
Oh no, I agree. I like Elam also. He's my cornerback 4, but yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's a bad.
Jerome, why are you taking corners? Who would ever thought that would happen?
I'm not advocating against them. I just think that they already have a slew of corners that they can have, and to Chris's point, they do need pass rusher. So I don't know. I mean,
they do.
I'm pretty sure Packer fans won't even mind them getting 2 wide receivers.
They do, but really on defense, they need a linebacker, and it's just way too early to take a linebacker right now.
Yeah. They also have 2 second-round picks, so and it's a deep linebacker draft, so you can get yourself a Brandon Smith or Christian Harris in the next round, and you'll be fine.
Yep. Agreed.
All right, Chris, you're on the clock. You got the Chiefs, the first of the 2. Who you got?
Okay. Since who has the second Chiefs pick?
That will be Ray.
Okay. Ray, I'm going to need you to pick up the slack on the next Chiefs pick because okay.
Let me get you.
Yeah. 29, I'm going to go wide receiver because they're going to need another wide receiver after losing Tariq Hill.
My guy, ain't you?
And I'm going to go with Jahan Dotson from Penn State.
No, you went the opposite way. Okay. All right. I like it though. I like it.
I do. I like that pick, Chris. I think that you lost a speed guy, and no one has that speed, but this guy is fast. Yeah. He's versatile, inside, outside, can help you in your return game. I like Jahan Dotson. I think he's a good football player. So good move.
Very good hands. Very good person, like as a culture player. Very good guy from New Jersey. Came out, was one of the best wide receivers in his class, chose Penn State, stuck with Penn State through some turmoil. I like Jahan Dotson. Everything that I've known about him, everything I've learned about him, I think that
I thought I didn't have this graphic. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Hey, you do have it. See, there you go. You're the Swiss Army knife of this group. But I think that Jahan Dotson makes a lot of sense, especially given what they want to do and what they just lost with Tariq. I mean, Tariq is not an easy loss, man. Like even when I'm sitting here thinking about it right now, I'm just like, dag, like how do you replace that? Like, and then it's like now you put a lot of pressure on Jahan Dotson.
You don't. That's the answer.
Oh, what Michi the third probably would have been my other pick, but that comes later in the draft.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. I think that Jahan is a great kid. I think he deserves to play with a guy like Andy Reid or play for a guy like Andy Reid. I mean, look at that team offensively. I mean, he's going to learn so much with that, the depth of knowledge of just the coordinators. And they bring him back Nagy this year too. So I feel like he will do very well here based off of what he has as a cumulative package of coaches and players to basically assist him and bring him along with the most exciting quarterback in football.
Yeah, Chris.
Oh, no. And the one thing I love, because I watch pretty much nothing but the Big Ten Network. I mean, you guys know you're Michigan fans, so you watch plenty of Jahan Dotson and Penn State. I'm Ohio State fan. So the guy just knows how to track a deep ball, probably better than nearly anybody in this draft. And personally, I feel like if he would have had much better quarterback play, like if Bryce Young was throwing to him, he definitely would probably be a lot more higher on a lot of wide receiver boards than what people give him credit for.
Absolutely.
Yep. Yeah, I just think if I were a wide receiver, I want to play under it with Andy Reid. I'll put it that way. That's all.
And that's ultimately why, I'm like these picks. I'm just like, okay, Zion Johnson gives you the versatility inside, so that's why he went to Dallas. Dax Hill, Todd Bowles will find a use for him the first day he picks up his playbook. And Andy Reid loves his wide receivers. Any wide receiver in throughout his tenure in Philadelphia and now Kansas City will say they have nothing but love for Big Red. So I feel like Jahan Dotson is a hand and glove fit for those teams.
Excellent pick. Yep.
Exactly.
I mean, I love the fit better than the guy I was thinking. I have my man crush for this draft. A guy that I really like. Ray already know who I'm talking about, but we'll see if he gets drafted in the first round. But that's where my mindset, and I really think about Dotson, which I think is a better fit. Do a lot of things that Tyreek Hill did do. He's not Tyreek Hill. Don't get me wrong, but he can do a lot of the same things.
No, he's not.
You could.
He's wearing a nice uniform this year, man.
Yeah.
Are you gonna be wearing more teal or orange? I mean,
I hope not. I don't like the orange uniforms. I like the teal.
Yeah.
And I honestly wish they would go back to this logo and get rid of that porpoise they have right now, to be honest with you.
That's funny.
Yeah.
All right.
Last thing about Dotson, I feel like obviously he's not going to replace Tyreek Hill, but I feel like where he lacks in Tyreek Hill, he'll definitely be an upgrade over McCole Hardman.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, well, the difference between Hartman has the speed, but he doesn't have the ball tracking ability that Dotson has. That's where they can be a nice complementing each other. Dotson run the nines and the go routes, and you let Hartman get underneath of that and get him in space and let his speed do the work.
And you still got Juju Smith-Schuster and Travis Kelce eating up the middle. Also,
you do, and Juju Smith-Schuster is going to be a nice intermediate type guy too, and you have the best tight end in football, so you're good.
Exactly. You can't get any better. But like McCole, man, you mentioned him. I was like, dag.
Yeah.
I really thought he was going to make a bigger step this past year. I'm actually a McCole Hardman fan.
I know. I love Hardman. I love his speed. I wish that his hands were more consistent. That's all. Yeah, if he had good hands, he'd be a top 10 receiver in the league. He could be, especially playing with a quarterback.
Every time you get him looking upfield, he's looking upfield before he even secures the ball.
He does, man. He just
does that in big games. It's like, dude, just
man,
just ball to your hands and you'll be fine.
And it's not like he's not a small kid, man. He's a fairly thick kid, man. Just get ready to take the hit. Just catch the ball,
Yeah. Like none of these kids like to take, they don't like to take hits.
No one likes getting hit, man. I mean, back to when we were kids, you like getting hit. I didn't like getting hit. I like hitting people, but I don't like getting it.
Yeah,
right.
This is true.
All right, let's get to our last three picks because we're almost done here, guys. We got Ray with the second pick for the Chiefs. Now, Chris already asked you to pick up the slack, so I'm very curious who you're gonna pick up right here, Ray. And I kind of hope you pick a player too, but go ahead. I want to see who you get.
I'm taking Lewis Seen, safety from Georgia.
That is literally what I was thinking too, Ray.
I think it's just a good versatile pick for that man. It's a kid like Jerome knows this. I honestly think Lewis Seen is maybe the second best player on Georgia's whole defense. I do.
Big time.
I think he's underrated. I think here's a question. I want to answer my own question. The player that led Georgia with all their talent in tackles this year was Lewis Seen.
Yeah.
Great football player.
Plays downhill.
Yeah. Correct.
4.39, which pretty much shocked me in the 40.
30, almost 34-inch arms.
Right.
Just a versatile type player. I think that he's going to fit really good in Kansas City because they need defense. So I think that me and Chris, maybe we should be running a team because we just counterbalance each other completely. Take Dotson, take Seen. I'm taking care of both ends of the spectrum there.
Listen, I'd pay to see that any day.
I like it. I like how y'all think, man. I like how y'all think.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else about Seen? Sorry.
No, Seen is perfect. That's why I drafted Dotson first because I knew Ray would pick up the slack and draft Seen.
Yeah.
Nice. Great minds think alike, right?
Exactly. Now, an Ohio State guy and a Notre Dame guy would be that much in too, right?
Why you have to feel like that? Now,
Well, man, from my experience with Remy, man, usually we don't think too much alike.
Remy. Oh God, Remy. What team Remy like?
He likes Ohio State, remember?
Oh yeah. Oh God.
Oh man. This guy thought
at least Chris, I can respect him. He did get some nerves when he do beat us, but I can respect Chris. He's smart. He understands.
Absolutely.
What's funny?
When Ohio State lost, he was the first person to say congratulations to Michigan. So I'll give him the start. But
I respect that because usually how Ohio State fans do is they run and hide.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I just listen.
What
I
else
just said my
really?
congratulations, and then after
Okay.
that, I didn't say nothing for the rest of the day. I just
There you go, man. There you go. There you go.
Love you, Remy.
Everybody
Yeah,
likes. Everybody is. That's the key, man. You could be a sore loser, just don't let everybody know that you're a sore loser. That's all.
There you go. Oh, I'm a big sore loser.
Everybody
Ray knows every time we lose.
Really? Nah.
Oh yeah. We know, Jerome. We know.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
you are the same guys been predicting that the Eagles will take a linebacker for the last 3 months. So yeah, you don't like to lose.
Devin Lloyd. Devin
All right.
Lloyd.
I am on the clock. Devin Lloyd, let's go. I am on the clock, and I'm excited about this pick because
This may be the easiest pick of the draft right now.
this will literally be the easiest pick of the draft.
It should be.
Why wouldn't you pick him?
It should be the easiest pick of the draft. Go ahead.
Christian Watkins. No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
Dude.
Oh god.
Yeah, man. I'm going to be 60 in a couple months, and you can't do that stuff to me, okay, man? Come on.
Kenyon Green will literally be the dude. How were they able to get him?
Who? Kenyon Green? That's a good question, man. That's it.
Man, if they are able to get him, they're honestly, they went to the Super Bowl without a good line. To get him, it's hard not to root for them. It's hard not to root for them. It really is.
Really, it's hard not to root for a team that wears orange all the time. Come on, man. Come on.
Your team wears orange.
No, they don't.
Hey, sometimes they wear green.
No, most of the time they wear green.
Is it green or two?
It's aqua.
Aqua.
It's aqua. Come on.
But no,
let's not call it green. It's aqua, okay?
Teal. Ain't it? Wait, is it? Yeah, I thought it was orange and teal. Yeah.
It's teal, aqua, whatever you want to call it, man.
I know.
I guess I wore the wrong hat tonight, didn't I?
Got him.
Yeah, man. Honestly, is there an uglier uniform than the Bengals in the whole league, though?
Big time.
Is there any uniform uglier than the
Orange ones, I think, are ugly.
The Browns are pretty bad.
Yeah.
No, the Browns is bad. Well, Cleveland, Cincinnati, potato, whatever.
Cowboys saying that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't like the Cowboys, but I do like the traditional Cowboys uniforms. I do.
Uniforms are
the Broncos, not the orange ones, like the AFL ones, like the mustard. Like the mustard and the brown.
No.
I'm not a fan of that.
Old school because those bumblebee things that the Steelers be wearing.
Yeah, man. There's no. Let's face it. If you go back to all the throwback uniforms, they're all ugly, man. All of them.
The Eagles, the one the Eagles.
Oh my god, dude! The blue and yellow. What is that? Like, really?
Nobody even knew what that even was.
The good thing about Miami is the good thing about Miami. They've only been in the league since like the late '60s. They've always had good uniforms. God.
They've always had good uniforms.
I think it's funny though because the Eagles had them ugly uniforms and everybody's getting on them. They're ugly. They destroyed the Rams in that game. I remember that game so vividly. That was so funny.
We averaged 56 points with those uniforms. Fun fact.
For real. All right, let's get to our last pick.
Yeah.
With the Detroit Lions, we're gonna let our newest guy on the panel take the last pick. So, Mr. Corey, who he's picking here for Detroit?
Ooh, this is going to be interesting right here. This is an interesting pick.
This is scary.
Bradley Zapp.
Jeez.
You know what, man?
I'm gonna have to go. So, all right, what linebacker or D-back would I take at this pick, or do I go with a quarterback?
That's the question right there.
Ooh.
That is the question right there. And not only that, who is that quarterback if you do take that?
Honestly, if it is a quarterback, it's going to have to be Desmond. I like Matt Corral. I've been a Sam Howell fan since he first committed to Florida State and then reneged. And I thought, he puts a lot of good spin on the ball, but there's something about Desmond that I fell in love with last year as a quarterback, and I felt like the kid he exudes personality, great smile. He seems like a winner. Guys want to be around him, And didn't he start all 4 years? Like, did he start off the year?
I think he played his freshman year, but started his last 3.
Mhm.
Yeah. So when I look at that, I think, guy's a winner. He can run the ball. Maybe he can scramble around a little bit because they're going to need it. They need to get their running game more consistent. I think at this pick, I'm going to have to go with Desmond Ridder. I think that, I can't really – well, I mean, there's a couple D-backs I could take. What's the other kid from Washington that played opposite of McDuffie? I do like
Kyle
that
Gordon.
kid. Yeah, thank you.
Kyle Gordon.
I like him. I like Kyle Gordon. He's like – Kyle Gordon's a freak athlete too. But there's something about Desmond Ridder that fits the city of Detroit. Hardworking, shows up every day. He's going to give you his all. He's not used to being pampered. He's kind of like an underdog in a sense. This is not a guy who plays in the best conference for the best team. You got to think about it. He took a team that was literally, counted out by everyone and made them count for the last 2 years consistently.
Mhm.
D Ford or not D Ford. What's their running back? Is it D Ford? Is D Ford?
Yeah, D Ford. Yeah.
Transfer from Alabama, helps him out. Alec Pierce is a boss.
I like
one of the underrated wide receivers in the country.
Jerome knows I'm a big Alex Pierce fan. I like him.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I like Cincinnati as a team, whether it's Kobe Bryant, whether it's Sauce. I'm a huge Majai Sanders fan. I think he's probably one of the most underrated defensive ends. I gotta go with Desmond, man. I think Desmond makes sense. I think he's charismatic. I think he gives a lot of sell to the franchise. And then if you think about it, I don't think Howe fits, Dan's personality as a coach. I don't think that who was the next quarterback? Matt Corral. I don't think Matt Corral fits. I think if I was even going to go quarterback for them after this, I'd have to wait until the 3rd round and go Carson Strong. But I like Desmond Ridder. I actually hope the Eagles draft Carson Strong and then trade Minshew, but that's another topic.
Ooh.
Because I feel like Minshew has value, and I think we need to capitalize off of it before he goes out and start throwing interceptions, and we have a quarterback controversy. So I think that we get the value out of that. We draft Carson Strong and then allow him to come along. But for the Detroit Lions, I would like to see them draft a linebacker, but I think it's too early. Brandon Smith is my next favorite linebacker, and he's only 20 years old. But I will go with Desmond. Sorry, I know I just said a lot. I'm sorry.
Man. Corey be saying a lot of stuff that I be like low-key hot taking a lot. He says a lot of the same things. I say about the Carson Strong thing too. I said the same exact thing. But
do not tempt me with Carson Strong. Do not tempt me.
And have you seen his wide receiver Dubs? Like the 6'2" kid?
Yeah, Romeo Dobbs, yeah.
Listen, that kid has some really good hands, and he reminds me of a poor man's Michael Thomas.
Yeah. I seen him at the Senior Bowl, and I was like, yeah, he can catch, man.
Yeah,
I like the entire offense. I probably out of everybody in the offense, I like Cole Turner also.
Yeah, I like Cole Turner. I'm scared of this tight end class. I'm an Isaiah Likely fan.
Oh my God, who is this guy? Who brought this guy on here?
Well, you know who brought him in. So
my second guy, my overall my second favorite tight end, Woods from Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
So Woods is a guy who. So all right, I don't know if I told you this, Ray. My goal at one point was to be a director of athletics at a major university. Cheltenham Township has one of the best, he just retired 2 years ago. He was one of the top 10 athletic directors in the country, graduated from Cheltenham High School, which is where we live. Well, Ray works in this township, but he's home here because he's Uncle Ray to us. But
correct.
But the former athletic director at UVA was my role model, and he was my mentor for the past. His name is Craig Littlepage. He's been my mentor for the last 9 years. It wasn't until maybe like a year and a half ago I decided to switch that goal up a little bit. And I'm actually, once I graduate from school next spring, I'm going to take the NFL Players Association licensing test to become an agent. And Craig Littlepage introduced me to this kid, almost 2 years ago. You know, he transferred from Oklahoma State. Kid's huge. Looks like a basketball player. I thought he was a basketball player. You know, and when you turn the film on this year, I mean, not only does he get open, he shields people off of his body very well. He's a huge tight end, you know, and he just works. But Isaiah Likely and Woods are my guys. I like those two guys. And both of the tight ends from Iowa State. I like those guys too. But that's another story.
Yeah, man. We think too much alike. But anyway, that's going to do it for our draft. But before we go, obviously there are players that are left on the board. They're going to be in day 2. So real quick, give me one guy. Each person give me one guy that is still on the board that you either thought they were best available. They probably could have gotten the first round. Chris, I'm sorry with you.
I'm trying to think. This is a good. If I had to, I like Jaquan Brisker from Penn State. I feel like him, Jalen Petrie from Baylor. You got a pretty good safety class for like day 2. So I feel like a lot of these guys are definitely going to be going between that 30 to 50 range.
Yeah, absolutely.
Eagles. Ray, who's your best available?
Well, for one, I love Brisker too. I think it is a nice spot to need a safety, especially if you got an early second-round pick. But I think this may be where you see one of these teams that still want a quarterback. And not that I think they're I think you could see a spot early in the second round where Matt Corral and Sam Howell both get drafted. I think that's going to happen. I honestly think if you need a running back, Breece Hall is there, man. Go get him. I would love for Miami to just go get him right now, but it's not going to happen. But I love Breece Hall. I think he's the most versatile back in the draft. I think if you really need him or you need a running back, he's your guy. And I know not everybody's as high on Trevor Penning. I'm not a big Trevor Penning guy, but I think if you're Tennessee, if you're a team that runs the ball, you put Penning at right tackle, and he's going to be really good. I see a lot of John Runyon in him, a guy who's a road grader who plays with an edge. I think there's several players you get early in the second round, but I honestly think you're going to see one of these teams that want a quarterback trade up and grab a quarterback right now.
Absolutely.
Corey, who you got?
So I'm going to have to go with the most popular guy. I really love both of your picks. I was going to say Jalen Petrie, but Chris, you already did an excellent job of naming him. I love Trevor Penning as well, and I agree with you about the quarterback point. But got to go with also another New Jersey product by way of Scotland, David Ojabo. David Ojabo jumps off the board when you look at it. The man forced 5 forced fumbles, 5. And you have to look at it like this. Michigan rotates. They probably rotated their defensive linemen better this year than I've seen any other year. So it's not like he's taking an excessive amount of snaps. It's not taking a beating. I mean, honestly, I still think he's going to end up being the steal of this draft, along with a couple other lower round players. But I also got to throw my man Nick Bonito in there. When I look at Nick Bonito and I look at what he's been asked to do for Oklahoma, I'm like, man, this kid can play so many different places. Then looking at his measurables and looking at what he did at the combine, he kind of reinforced what my thoughts were. I think, in a league where edge rushers are at a premium, I mean, you can't get any better than those two right there. Of course, I'm going to go with Ojabo first, not because he's from Michigan, but because you got to realize the kid has only been playing football for 5 years. So you look at that with his insane athleticism, and his knack for, forcing turnovers. The right system, the right coaches. He's already motivated. The kid came from Nigeria, moved to Scotland, went to the Hun School. I think it's the Hun School in New Jersey. Pretty much had his pick of top schools, including Notre Dame and Penn State. But ultimately, he chose to go to the best and the brightest champions of the West. And, look, it paid off for him. University of Michigan, David Ojabo, Nick Bonito. Those are my two guys.
I agree with that. I agree with that a lot. I think that, honestly, if it wasn't for Ojabo getting hurt, I think he probably would have been taken already.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Top 10, top 15, something like that.
Yeah. Sure. I feel like the Jets. Yeah, I feel like with the Jets, we have 2 early first-round picks, so it wouldn't surprise me if they decide just to use one of those picks on the job, or just to have him into the system. Another guy also, he might be like a late second, early third pick. Jameer Slater from Georgia. He only allowed 4 pressures all of 2021. The guy can play everywhere in the interior. So if you're a team like Cincinnati who's still trying to fortify that offensive line for Joe Burrow, or a team like Jacksonville that's trying to give Trevor Lawrence a fighting chance, then I feel like that's a really good late second round, early third round pick for you.
Absolutely, I agree.
Yeah, obviously I love the Ojabo pick, but I gotta tell you guys my man crush of this draft, and that's Christian Watkins. I mean, I love that guy. I seen him at the Senior Bowl, and I instantly just fell in love with him. Chris knows he was there. I was talking about this guy the entire weekend, and he just impressed me. And then he went to the combine and just did even more. So I love Watkins. I personally didn't think he would be a first-round pick. I hear him getting a lot of first-round buzz. But you get a guy in the second round, and you can teach him, and hopefully he can, he has a little bit of a catching problem sometimes here and there. But, I think that you get him on the right system where he's not in a run-first offense. Right. I think you can really have a really good receiver. And there's a lot of good receivers in this draft. Christian Watkins is one of those guys that are just a freak.
I will say this about Watson. Everything around him, about his measurables, it reminds me a lot of DJ Shark. But I also will say this. If the Jets do decide, if they can get Deebo Samuel from the Jets and the 49ers get that haul, I could definitely see Christian Watson definitely reuniting with his former teammate with Trey Lance in San Fran.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a good idea.
Wow, that's a good pick.
Yeah, this has been so enjoyable. You have no idea. You made my night.
Yes, sir. That's what I like to hear. Man. Hey, we really enjoy you guys being on here. That's going to do it for us today. But did you want to say something else real quick?
No, I just wanted to say, Chris, you're probably the Ohio State fan I have the most respect for, and I just met you, so that's a very high compliment coming from me. But you're also an Eagles fan, so you're like family, man. So there you go.
I know it's so tough.
Man. Go Birds.
It's tough because like me and him yell at each other, but also we understand each other with the Eagles, so it's like
right. It's like hard to be mad at him. It's like, and he's such a bright guy. And Ray, your Uncle Ray, you know I love you to death, man. You're great and awesome. And Rome, man, we're gonna bond, Rome. I see this coming. You guys are awesome. I'll do any of the stuff with you guys any day.
I appreciate you, Corey. No, thanks for having you on. Appreciate that. That's gonna do it for us today, guys, with this awesome mock draft live podcast that we have on here. This special. Before we get off, I want to have you guys kind of plug in what you got. So, Chris, I know you have your radio station. So, how about you plug that in for us, sir?
Yes, I do the Running Back Sports Show, Sports for the Culture. It airs every Tuesday from 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern on 98.5 WJYN and on UptownRadioPhilly.org. And more importantly, we talk about everything, football, basketball, life stuff, and it's a good time. It's a vibe. You should definitely check it out. And we're on every platform. Also, we're on Anchor. We're on Apple Podcasts. So check us out. We got perfect rating on Apple Podcasts right now. So
hey, there you go. Let's go. So check it out. Check his stuff out right there. Thanks, Chris, for being on. Ray, you got any final words you wanted to say, sir?
No, just say this was great, man. This is our time of the year. All us real football fans love this time of year. I mean, the thing that bothers me about it is Miami has no first-round picks this year, so tomorrow night is going to be kind of like a little frustrating for me. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to watch highlights of Tyreek Hill all night, okay?
Yes, you are.
I'm going to say, you poor thing. You don't have a first-round pick, but you can watch Tyreek Hill.
It's going to be tough.
You can always go to his
It's so hard.
The greatest thing about it is I got a cheetah and a penguin. And the penguin is only runs a 4.37, and he's slow.
Oh God, I feel sorry for. I just feel sorry for those corners because you can literally do rub routes all game long, and they're just going to be exhausted.
There's been talking about Miami trading a second or third round pick next year for Kadarius Toney. Man, if that happens, oh my God.
I don't know. I don't know if I want him on my team. That kid is a head case.
Yeah, he could be a head case on my team. I got a coach who's going to take care of that now.
Oh,
I don't have the abrasive guy I had last year. I have the guy that says he's going to smooth all the rough edges and go, let's go, man. Let's run, guys. Let's run. So,
that's great. At that point, all you need is a quarterback.
I don't need a quarterback. I got faith in Tua. It's funny. You know what's funny though, and I know Corey knows how I feel about this line of questioning. Jerome knows too. 3 years ago, I wanted Justin Herbert, right? And everybody killed me for 3 months, right, Jerome? Told me I was dumb. Tua was the man, blah, 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 blah. This left-handed Steve Young, blah, 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 blah. And now I have more faith in him than all them people. What a shame that is.
There you go.
He's not wrong.
No running game, an offensive line where you had one solid starter, and he still has won more games, and he has better winning percentage than Justin Herbert.
Wow, did not even realize that.
There you go.
Did not realize that.
So that's crazy. But yeah, that's gonna do it for us today, guys. As you know, make sure you go check us out on InsideTheHashes.com. We have all our content on there, all our football stuff. Got interviews, player interviews. We got gaming. We got blogs. We got all that great stuff. So make sure you go check that out, InsideTheHashes.com. Also, make sure you check out all our social media, Inside the Hashes at Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And you go check us out on all our Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts, all our podcast platforms where you can find all our player interviews on there. Some guys that we interviewed that are going to be in the first round: Evan Neal, Kyle Hamilton. I think there was one other person, but I can't think of them right now. But hey, man, we got some guys that we interviewed in the first round that's going to be drafted tomorrow. So make sure you go check that out. InsideTheHashes.com. You go to there. There you go. That little anyway, that little thing right there. There you go. The little scan right there. Scan that QR code, and you can find all our content right in there. So thank you guys so much. Ray, you look like you wanted to say one more thing.
He did have to come in and finish up the mess that your quarterback was, against Georgia that year.
Oh my God, he's talking about Hurts. Anyway, thank you guys for being on. We appreciate it. I'm Jerome Jones. We got Christopher Thomas right there. We got Corey, the man Corey right there, and we got the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Ray Roberts. Thank you guys so much. Have a good night.
Season, baby.
Enjoy your draft tomorrow. It's gonna be crazy.
Eagles.
It's gonna be crazy.
Ray, you can always go for the Eagles.
Go Birds.
Go Birds.